Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have the first of a best of 3 series. I was playing in the Boot Camp Discord 1v1 rookie tourney against Boosted Eagle, who is a second lieutenant, and I do have with me Osama bin Lifting from the Blitz War channel, I think, as well, and he's seeing this for the first time, so you want to say hello?
Hello! Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure to have you on. So this, I was informed later on, I kind of counterpicked myself a little bit. So Boosted chose the map and the deck, I believe. I'm not sure. I might have picked the map. She picked her deck first, and she picked Scandi. And I promptly countered with Yugoslavia National, which doesn't have Seed and a couple of other tools that would have been pretty nice. So what it does have is the Hera 2. And I don't know about you, I think this thing's just busted for 30 points.
Oh yeah. Very good. Browning.
Yeah.
Something's weird with the DPS, but it's definitely a lot higher than
standard Brownings. I've always been wondering that because like it killed that other recon tank really quickly. So anyway, my opener here, the idea behind it was single super heavy, a little bit wider because of that, and then try to go a little bit in Anna as well, while just getting some recon for the Feder side. And I don't know, I never know when to disembark here. I don't know if you have some advice on that, but immediately lost the town.
Yeah, especially because you're playing Mechanized, and what was he playing again?
I don't know, not Mechanized, just Yugoslavia General. He's playing as Scandi General, I think.
Okay. Well, yeah, because you're kind of a Mechanized push here. You're just going to get there a little bit later.
Right, and then
so
double
obviously that
STRV
means
121.
Yeah, probably going to be set up in the town, so just make sure you're setting up, well outside of like RPG range. Probably like 800 meters is a good ballpark.
So like here kind of thing?
I can't see where you're pointing, but it does take a little bit of measuring to kind of learn the ranges.
Gotcha. And then I just got intimidated, so like double STRV 121, Fighting Falcon demolished my infantry, my VHOR doesn't want to take that fight, like it was a very scary opener.
Yeah, I see that smoke by your BOV M86. I think you put that down, it kind of looked like.
Yeah, here? Yeah, that was me. I was trying to make sure that my VHOR didn't get killed by the double 121.
Well, just the one just in front of it at the very start of the game now, it's just now fading.
Oh no, that was my opponent, I think.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say that was either counterproductive for you or pretty good for him.
No, we did actually sneak in automatics. The AN got an automatic, and then I was just sitting there going, I mean, alright, that's some consolation prize, I guess, but this felt very bad. This felt like I was just sitting there going, okay, this is not going to work that well. And then I sent Pato 90 around the side, but Kustiegri, same point cost, 15 point strength. Yeah. And then, do you know anything about their tertiary?
You mean the machine gun?
Yeah.
It's pretty low DPS compared to other machine guns, but at the end of the day, they are SF. They are 15 man.
Oh no, sorry, I meant the. Oh yeah, they're elite. Yeah, so this sort of like my push in Dimitri crumpled, my attempt to go wider in Anna got crumpled, and I was just sitting back here going, okay, I don't really know how to handle the 121s, I don't really know how to handle Anna now that I've lost my expensive special forces there, so I just sent the Hera forward. I'm sitting there going, okay, is there anything in Feder, right? Because we've seen 2 121s in the field, it's pretty expensive, there was a fair amount of expensive infantry, especially over in Anna as well, and I mean it's just an M41A1, right?
Yep, I think that's a perfect way of thinking. Actually, you see that there's. Oh, what is he doing? A little U-turn.
Yeah,
I would probably storm him even. But you see all this expensive stuff being put in middle, and people really do get focused way too much on middle sometimes for their own good. In this position, you've lost Suicide Town.
Suicide
it's a little. Yeah, that's the name some people give it. It is pretty tricky to take back, especially against a player who's. Let's say even skilled towards as you.
And I think there's actually quad Nordlandsjägeri in here as well, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, sometimes the best solution, honestly, I know that town is really, really important, but sometimes the best solution is to try to go around it.
So what I'm doing here is promptly not taking that advice. So I finally got.
No, I mean you could definitely contest it too. It's again like for this map, it is kind of a very punishing map. If you lose that opener, you're just going to lose kind of like everything in the front. You're going to have to reset and kind of rethink your approach here while he's kind of reinforcing a town.
I wanted to ask you as well, like we saw the 121s retreating over to that side, and that had me thinking, okay, well, it's kind of interesting, because if it were me, I would have pulled more back this way, By the way, block 5s made me very sad. That was a right click on the V-Horse. So they're about to teleport bombs on top. Yep, there it is. I would have pulled back this way and tried to draw my opponent into ATGMs. Which kind of made me think I don't even know if they're really there. Right, because I haven't seen anything shooting out. My BVP's not too far away. But
I think that's a good line of thinking. But at the same time, I think you might, especially for this rating, maybe people, I think, especially at this skill level, people kind of focus more on the core mechanics as opposed to maybe like
tricks and traps.
Grander, yeah, more. They're thinking much more smaller scale instead of a strategical kind of thinking.
So at this point in time, then, just to recap, we've seen the 121s come this way. We've seen a fair amount of investment in Anna. I've lost Dimitri. I've lost Anna, and my V-Horse are damaged. And we're like 6 minutes into the game. So what I was thinking now is, okay, let's get the V-Horse healed up, and then I need to do something different. Because I'm probably down on points, I'm down on board position, I had no reasonable way of retaking that, the block 5 survived. So I was just, sitting there going, okay, let's switch over to Fetter, and that's sort of what we're going to do as soon as the M91A V-Horse.
Yeah, I like that line of thinking. I know people, Suicide Town is very, very important for the map, but at the end of the day, it's not worth you just, throwing bodies into it repeatedly. Especially a lot of people, they get very impatient, they want to keep up the pressure on Suicide Town. They keep buying and they do these sloppy assaults. If you are going to try for Suicide Town, I always want to, I usually make sure that it's very, very well prepared. You have your arty going in, you're stunning the stuff inside the town, you've got your smoke laid out, you've got your infantry pushing in while your tanks in support or fire support. At the end of the day, going Anna, Fedor, it's not a bad idea.
I was wondering what to title this one. I think Suicide Town is gonna have to take the game.
So, yeah, I think the other name for it is like Triangle Town or whatever,
because it's kind of like a triangle. And the idea here was just also cap center, make sure my opponent didn't get tick, because Mudfight is so hard to get that incremental tick in the late game from my experience. And something interesting I wanted to point out: these BVPs are spotted, the bulbs are spotted. We saw a lot of reinforcements coming over this way. And I was just sitting there going, okay, my guess is I'm going to get pushed right through here. So I have Proletariat, I have Mechanizovana, I have Oats, and I'm prepared to lose those couple of points there just to see what's going on. And that's really the signal for me to take things back and around. So my M84 sort of coming back here, I have the V-Horse just about to make their move. And then my following reinforcements should be going up and to the left. And you can see they are coming up here. So the XA-180s, and then I think the STRVs hadn't made their debut yet, but we just inch a little bit back from the tree line and let the Proletariat engage. And I mean, they're 15-point shocks, but 20 rounds per minute. I'm always happy with these guys.
Oh yeah, for the price you pay, they're just so good.
Yeah. I mean, 13 AP can't handle Scandi IFVs very well, but the fast vehicles, sure. So that's not really too much of a problem. And then just double M84, because the thinking here, 16 AP scales to what, 28 at min range?
I'm sorry, what scales to which range?
16 AP at min range.
I mean like point blank?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what it scales to, but it does go pretty high. And just if you're not aware, there is a kinetic AP cap of 30.
Yes. Okay. There's also infinite sadness losing your mortars to a beacon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but I mean, we get some good engagements. Foster Miegri here getting killed by Mechanizovana is far and away worth it, but I mean, it's about the first worth it trade I've gotten, and they are stunned, so the mortar support, the long-range fire support from Boosted was pretty consistent, and I gotta say, I was sitting there going, I was feeling the lack of it myself, because I don't know, some of the advice I've gotten from people like Gatsu and others is, whenever you take an infantry fight, immediately support your stuff with mortars, with everything you can. But the STRV 121s are here. My Mechanizovana are using their tertiary instead of their secondary, so we might get the Falskirm, but yeah. And then at that point I was really regretting not having taken Proletariat 90, because these M72 walls. No, I do. Just not on that side, right? Because I was trying to just get bodies in the forest, and I didn't think that I'd see double STRV 121 up here. It really took me by surprise.
Yeah, and going back to the point of supporting your infantry, I think what really sets apart lower level players compared to at least mid or higher level players is how they support their infantry, because it's really, people get a little too bogged down on what infantry can beat what in the forest. That's not really the question you're going to be asking for 80% or 90% of the engagements. Most of these engagements are okay. Well, this thing's got a BV, it comes into BVP, and that can come up and support it behind, or and like in this case, you could start mortaring the Kustiagari.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an interesting
So
engagement.
this engagement was probably my biggest regrets. I'm moving forward. We did get the STRV's engagement proletary first, and if I had just pushed the M84AN forward here, I'm pretty sure I could have gotten a kill. And
Yeah,
instead
probably.
I let it get away, and that is going to come back to bite me so hard in this game. And it was a best of 3. I don't want to give any spoilers for the series or for any individual game, so all of these in this series, keep in mind, I might win, I might lose, we'll have to see how it goes. And before we go any further, I do just want to do the obligatory YouTuber shout-out thing. So if you do like this sort of thing, just like, share, subscribe, and I'm sure you hear things from the Blitzboard community on it as well. It's the YouTube algorithm, it is how it is. If I don't ask and it does poorly, I get punished for it, so makes me feel a little scummy, but there it is. So the VHORs are over on the left-hand side now. We do get the LVKV90, which I believe that's what, 50 points?
50 points.
Yeah, 50 points. So it's a decent pick. And then my smoke was on the very edge of its range, so I'm trying to smoke things, then move over, then smoke more, then move over, because you can see the immediate Fennec Totu buy. Which, I mean, that's usually a good sign, right? Getting your opponent to panic by helicopters.
Yeah, because that means he's panicking. He doesn't. It basically means he's not
prepared.
Confident. He's not confident in his, I guess, situation in Fedora right now, from what he sees, which I assume he sees it too.
Yeah, he saw the two super heavies. I did, by the way, spot the fob, but I'm not a dirty fob killer. So. And then this made me happy as well. So the Fighting Falcon coming in, it means it's unavailable now. And he's going for the Pado, but the fact that he missed...
Oh, splitter! No, I'm kidding.
Splitting imagery.
Yeah, he hit the wrong place. Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good. So, yeah, I mean, like, I really like what I'm seeing here. What is one thing I think you can also try to do is push up some cheap infantry that you just don't mind losing on some of the other flanks. Because what this does, especially when people are lower levels, they can't really micro more than one flank at a time. Which is exactly what you're doing here.
Maybe a little bit not coordinated well, so you can see
well,
I lose
it's
all
okay.
the
I mean, you're diverting his attention away, and especially when it comes to tank fighting, when you lose your attention from your super heavies for just a second, that's those seconds can really matter.
Oh,
in this case, you're not fighting super heavies, and I'm saying kind of more applicable case of if you want to push Dimitri and you're fighting super heavies. Getting their attention somewhere else is really big.
And I think that did happen here as well, because you can see like there's STRFs, there's the 121s are right there, but it took that long for them to respond. So we did get a couple of nice picks. I did lose an M84 because
not end of the world.
Yeah, it's what, 70-point tank. It's really not terrible. And then on this side, I'm just preparing to try to be as annoying as possible. So you Gamma 2, Padobranchi, T55. And then the Nevas have cycled all the way over just because of the consistent use of that Fighting Falcon. I really wanted to have good anti-plane AA in this side. It's just that does sacrifice it elsewhere, right? So I wasn't confident in this at the time. I don't know.
Well, it's fine. It's not like you needed your anti anywhere else, anyways. There's nothing important to really protect. Like plus, this was the push to protect.
Right, and then plus if they're going this way, if I can get enough of a forward hold and fetter, the Nevas might be able to fire like maybe into like a little bit past the road, I think, is the edge of their range. So that was sort of the hope there. And you can see, I mean, all of my reinforcements are coming this side. EVPs, ODM60s, the Sava, just everything. And I think after this game, I got some really nice feedback from the Mint Jellyman.
Yeah, he's a really good. I mean, he's excellent.
Yeah,
I think as a player and as someone who can
being teamed up with him for the adopted noob tourney was probably one of the most impactful things for me learning how to play this game better. But yeah, here comes the Fighting Falcon. Double Neva Met. Dead Fighting Falcon. There we go. Didn't even drop his bombs, I think. It's the stun.
Didn't look like it, yep.
And that's exactly what you want, is the plane to come in, doesn't even drop his bombs, and that's what, 125 points of value for free. Virtually free. I did pay for 2 Neva M1Ts. So this position, the thing that Mint Jellyman said is if I got a recon tank up here and left him right in that corner, then everything that comes down he can shoot in, not necessarily be spotted, and it would be just really annoying to have to deal with.
Yep, probably an M84 AN.
Yeah, exactly. Not that he is Vidyak, which, I don't know, I like these guys. I tend to find that they punch above their weight. But but I think it's kind of bad. It's kind of hard to find a bad recon tank. Like, I know you're a fan of all the Red Dragon's options.
All the
I think.
flavors.
Yeah. And then this I did also regret. So splitting up my Padobranchi, they just get isolated and killed by Falskrim Jaeger 90, which even together that would be a hard fight. But now I do have my mortars shooting in, hopefully. But these guys weren't attack moved; they were just right clicked, so they do get out of the way a little bit. I was pretty sad about that.
I mean, this push is pretty good. I'm actually pretty impressed, especially from what I've seen. Like when even a few weeks ago, when I first saw you play, I think there's definitely a huge improvement.
Oh, this might also be slightly better than the disaster you saw me play earlier tonight when we were playing together. So.
Oh no, it wasn't bad at all. I think I really like your train of thought, because a lot of people, they tend to get too focused on, I mean, with other important stuff, which is, you know, like what kind of units should I be buying and putting them where. You're thinking more about the psychology of the game, and that's something I personally value a lot. That's something that helped me a lot when I was climbing the ranked ladder. I think it's very, very important.
Yeah, so it's
like
the
how
reason
you're
I took
pushing your
Yugoslavia,
M84s.
by the way. Like, oh, wait, over here? Or?
Yeah, like, I mean, even though you lost those M84s, right, he still has to keep his STRV 121s there, because if he leaves, and you decide, and he doesn't know, but let's say you decide to make your full push on that side, well,
Now
those
his
M84s
heavy
are gonna
tanks
be
are
steamrolled.
gone, right? Like,
Yeah,
this
so
could have well been a bait.
Yeah, exactly. It's tying people up. So having probing your enemy on like multiple fronts is just so important, because again, the psychology is they don't really know what you're going to do. The unpredictability is what kind of wins you the game.
Unfortunately, it's not the only thing, though. So you can see I'm just dramatically overextending here.
Yeah.
And I mean, I thought to myself, I mean, I have two V4s, I have an Izvidyak. I thought that my Sava was a little bit closer, so I'm moving that up right now. And I was just sitting there going, why don't I just try to take this town, right? And if we take a look, right now, there's not that much between me and the command infantry.
Yes, so I know a lot of people like to put their command CV there. I would never do it, because if, like, let's say this situation is happening right now, if you were blue and you wanted to reinforce it, it's very, very hard, because your reinforcements take quite a while to get to that part of the
They have to
spawn,
go around one side or the other on the trees.
Exactly, and there's a whole set of trees that is blocking the line of sight, so there's only one road they can come down. Technically two, but
this just hurt my soul, by the way. Like, the V-Hors are backing up, not quite into the woods in time. I lose one to the Toe 2. I just so upset by that.
It happens.
I mean, the Toe 2. This is what I said. My Sava was out of position, because if I'd had that up farther, then maybe, right? But as it was, then that's going to immediately prompt, I think, some infantry buys. Yeah, you can see these. I think are Nordlandsjägeri, and they just come up here, and yeah, it just shuts it down. Still, though, it's nice to know about CV placement. I appreciate that, because that's not something that really many people focus on when they're new, I think.
Well, it's also very common for red to do a Fedor, a wide Fedor push, especially on the opener, or rush even.
Yeah, right down this side into the trees.
Yep, exactly. Your reaction time, your window for reacting in time is much, much more narrow.
I've tried that rush myself. I tend to find that for 1v1s, whenever I try it, my opponent just ends up ignoring me and just pushes right into center.
Oh, and into center. Well, I mean,
yeah.
the way you can avoid that, just put some maybe ATGMs in that town.
Yeah, here?
Yeah, that's a very defensible position.
Gotcha. I mean, when I say I was doing that, it was probably about 500 games ago, which is a terrifyingly high number of games. But
yeah, it's not. As a newer player, it might be a little trickier to pull off, just because you don't know what units are good for efficiently buying you time. Right?
This
like,
Gazella, by the way, was the hero I didn't even know that I didn't need it. But
it's pretty based.
Just watch this
CV,
too.
I assume, right?
CV right here.
All right.
Yep. I actually recognize the silhouette because I love that CV from Scandi as well. So it's the Strip EV90.
That thing has always bothered me, because it's got a cannon, but it's only got a machine gun, right? It's got a cannon on the model, but it's only got a machine gun. I looked up in real life, and that is actually how they actually do mount that. I guess
machine gun
command module. Yeah, they keep the cannon on there, but they just use the machine gun, and they don't have ammo for it. The cannon's just not functioning.
Gotcha. I would also like to point out I regret most of these reinforcements. I think they were the wrong reinforcements. So you said earlier, you know, psychology and the tactics, and this was, I think, the wrong tactics. So I mean, just if I had gotten an AN and done what I said earlier and just locked down this reinforcement zone.
Yeah, that would have been more than enough to hold down quite a bit. Along with your Vihor, you know, that wombo combo there, that's way more than enough.
Right, because you have the spotting there from the AN, you have the armor piercing from the Vihor. Like...
Exactly. Did you see those 2 STRVs rotate out of Anna when you were playing?
So no, I don't think so, and I think they're right here. Those are the super heavies.
That's it. Yeah.
I might have just about now because of the Gazella. Which is really goofy. Like, this isn't even a recon helicopter.
Yeah, it's spotting everything. Yeah. That can also help you in a number of ways, because now you realize, okay, Anna's unsupported by those two tanks.
I think I did realize it, because you can see I'm starting to move stuff over here. And I really regret not doing that during the push in Fetter. Part of the reason I didn't is another thing you said earlier, which is if you take your eyes off your super heavies, it can be a lot of sadness.
Yeah.
And I really struggle with that. Like, I can't tell you the number of super heavies I've lost because I'm sitting there going, okay, they're good for the next 5 seconds, let me do something else.
Well, there's no shame in just backing up your Vihor, you know, even back to where your Savas are. If this is what you really need to do, just back them up further than what you normally do, and just make sure it's a position where it's like, okay, if I had to use the restroom and take a quick piss and come back, like, you know, this tank should be fine. You know,
oh, come on, it's me. Odds are the break is to get my cat off of something, like, I don't know, the or my literal fridge. I don't understand that cat, but yeah, no, this was sort of a mistake here. I think like I wanted to make sure I cleared these woods out, but this positioning makes no sense. The Sava in front of the Vihor, no recon up this way.
I wouldn't read into it too much. It's not a big deal.
I was pretty stressed. I mean, Boosted was really, really a tough opponent during all of our games, and I was also prepping a bit of a town push.
I like this push, except for the fact you saw those STRVs kind of headed this way.
Yeah.
But again, you know, like, you're in the heat of the game, maybe you didn't notice the STRVs.
I think I saw. Well, I don't know. Who can say?
Do you remember?
No, not really. And then
was that your smoke you just put out there?
Yeah, so it was my smoke to block off the RBS,
okay.
Which was a little bit late, I think. And then the unfortunate thing for me, like, if we take a look at this right now, it's just these two, but Nordland's Jägeri and then more of them in reinforcements and 186s. I don't know when these guys were called in, but they got here so quick. And then because my Izvidyach was not moved up, I didn't intercept them on the road. So could have blocked them off. Like, if the Izvidyach is sitting right here, bust those transports coming down the road, and there's fewer reinforcements in the town. But yeah, it was nasty.
It's still, even if this push fails, it's not a big deal, because it seems like, obviously, like, he invests a lot into the town. The infantry that he puts into that town, it's not going to really have much impact on the game unless you attack that town again, or attack an area or near that town, which doesn't really seem like you're even forced to do, given the amount of
yeah, I was waiting to see if you notice it.
The amount of options you have. Also, for your smoke next time, I would put it more on top of that ATGM team.
Instead
not directly on top, but like just in front of the ATGM team. Because what you did here was you kind of blocked off your IFVs from supporting your infantry.
That was a mistake.
Yeah. So unless there's, you know, I would obviously probe it with 5 pointers first. Yeah. But if there's like an obscene amount of ATGMs, maybe that's a different story. But if you see one just shooting out, you know, obviously you have to account for the fact they can hop blocks, but just put it in front. Maybe line the rest of it, the rest of the town with it. But as where that false Jaeger is, you want that road to be open, because where the false Jaeger is, the recon.
Yeah.
Because let's say you had a BVP or some sort of auto cannon, you can shoot down that highway or that road, and that's where the reinforcements are coming from too. So you can actually shoot at reinforcements coming in.
And then I paused at this mark in part because we have the M84 AK that's shooting, and I realized this was shooting right about now, and I'm about to turn off the gun. But I really wanted to say shout out to my opponent here, because that same time where they're crumpling my push, where I'm actively microing over here, that's the second that they chose to push in this way. So I didn't even really realize that we had SJRV 121s down, because I was over here going, oh god, what's going on with my command tank? What's going on with my command tank? And then I get a couple of shots in, but yeah, this is rough. And
I mean, it happens. It's fine. It's part of the ebb and flow of the game.
Ebb and flow.
Oh yeah,
uh,
unintentional pun.
But yeah, so you can see my guys are shooting. My VHOR was shooting the LHV because I didn't micro this properly, and I'm just taking shells from the 121 until right there. And then by that point, I mean, my tank is shaken. It's not the best accuracy. I think I didn't even land a single shot. So
It's a shame.
yeah, I mean,
But,
when I
that's a
started
good
this, I had two
example,
VHORs.
Because like think about it, for your opponent, during that push, he put the Nordlandsäger up on the front blocks during your push, and he's like, okay, well, I don't need to worry about this anymore because that's a very hard position to take. I'm going to divert my micro somewhere else.
Yeah,
and again,
no,
like
it was
super
very
heavies,
well
it's
done.
like it's not hard to micro super heavies, but it's more just like you look away for a second, and a lot can happen.
Right, like
And you get punished for that.
if my VHOR was microed correctly there, we still might have killed one of the 121s, or I would have been able to just have the foresight to pull it back, right, to just retreat everything, and then I'm not losing. Like, this whole side collapsed so quick, I was just terrified. I was like, oh
well,
my
yeah, because
goodness.
the only thing holding it together was the VHOR.
Right.
To be honest, like your BVPs are great for shredding infantry, but anything else, it's a little, it's a little eh.
So if I lose my armor, like force composition could have been very much better there. And there's actually 3 121s, I think. That third one.
Yeah, like I would have at least planted some. Like when I take a position, I like to plant ATGMs around because it always.
Well, they're here.
I think about it. Oh.
I'm sorry, no, they're right here.
Oh, okay.
They were coming up. I called them
a little
too
late, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But basically, ATGMs it buys you a lot of time because the process of the realizing there's an ATGM there, smoking it off or whatever, just to push across it. It buys you time. It takes time to push into ATGM teams.
Yeah, it really does. And I think this was a case of me being simultaneously terrified and overconfident. Which turns out that combination leads to some bad placement decisions, like the command infantry up there instead of back here, as well as just some really weird buys. So, I mean, there's a reason I'm in the rookie tourney, right? Like, and
it's a learning experience, yeah.
Exactly. That's why I do as many replays as I do. Is because you always learn something. And I mean, we were able to kill, I think, the automatic back there, and that's why my L15. Oh no, there's the automatic. Never mind. But we did see all their tanks going on that side, and I think.
Oh, did you actually kill him?
No.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I would have gone for that. That was a little.
It was a little greedy.
The information was a little sus. You didn't have. It wasn't accurate.
Super Gallop got a kill, I believe, on an automatic though on the other side, so that was at least nice.
But if you think about it, those planes, though, the bombers you bought, you could have used that to putting infantry into Anna, and which at this point, his STRV 121s are on the other side of the map. You could have probably bought, or even move your M84s in Anna.
Well, so we're about to push in here. So M84ANs, M84s, BVPs, lots and lots of stuff. I only wish I had more infantry here, but I hadn't really reinforced much. I just figured, I mean, if we look back at this, right, like there's 11 minutes left. With Feder capped, I'm losing at a +1, 15 points a minute. I lose this game hard.
Yes.
So I had to do something, and that's the entire reason we had sort of a desperation push on this side. Plus, I mean, as you said, by now I definitely knew the STRV 121s were gone. And I really hadn't seen, like, Scandi outside of the 121s, I don't think there's much that can kill the AN in a direct confrontation.
Yeah, other than an STRV, but again, they're kind of particular that they can't really, they're not very mobile when they're fighting.
Right, and then perhaps, I guess I would say a little bit of too much caution over on this side from Boosted. I mean, you have 3 STRV 121s, right?
Was there 3 total?
Yeah, 2 in the back group, 1 in the front group.
Oh, okay.
Right now they're pushing, right? But we'll keep an eye on this side. So Super Gallop is coming in, and I could have gone for the 121, but instead, this is the automatic kill. I'm going for the automatic to rip apart the air support with the sole intention of making my opponent pull back. So I lose the Super Gallop. I have another that I can call, but I didn't have it purchased at the time. And we take down the air superiority fighter.
Whoa, pause here.
Yep.
You're forgetting something super important.
Okay.
You see that supply truck you have captured in the back? You have to turn everything off.
No. You
have to turn everything off so when he retakes it.
Look, man, I don't snipe fobs. I don't turn off fobs. I don't turn off resupply jeeps. But what was kind of cool here is we actually did, I believe, decap. So boosted CV was right here.
So once his STRVs are out, your M84s have free reign as long as you're not just driving them in.
Plus infinite sadness, though.
Yeah, that happens.
Right clicked.
It happens.
There it goes. Yeah, this is something I didn't really think about too much until after, when, again, talking with them in Jellyman, and he said, that command tank, the Yugoslavian command tank, has 2 top armor.
Yes, I was going to just say it is very squishy on the top. That
Yeah.
is the M84's weakness.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, and my smoke was just a little bit too late to block off line of sight. Not that it even would have really mattered that much, because, how do you tell your opponent where your CV is? Smoke the one, yeah. So
like I was doing that one game.
Yeah. I think you were doing that on purpose just to be funny, though.
Yeah.
Now, Strip
for
PV90.
Dimitri, I like infantry CVs in general, just because the lines of sight on Dimitri is pretty open, and it's not too hard to spot.
Yeah,
Like he was spotting your CV tank from
really far
basically
away.
the middle of Dimitri. Yeah, so I always prefer. It's my personal preference. I don't think there's always the right answer, but
Now, I do also get a little bit lucky here. So you can see the Fennec Toe 2 was firing at a couple of things, but not the AN. And the AN is what has recon, and we have line of sight on the Strip BB90, so it moved backward here. Now I know it's right there. It actually moved closer to my AN. So what you're going to see in a second is I'm going to try and go for it. Because, boosted is still ticking +1. I don't have a lot of stuff in Anna, and I'm still worried about these STRVs. 1, 2, 3 right there on the Feder side. And I was just thinking to myself, okay, if I can't make Dimitri neutral, which I'm trying again, so big investment into command tanks, I need to do something else about it. And that means I need to decap Dimitri if I can, right? And just get...
one quick small tip for Dimitri, your tank that you're planning there. When you are doing that, so I would fast move and keep that tank on the road and then press stop. Because the next time, so when he comes up with his F-16 and bomb it, you can just fast move forward or back pretty much immediately, because you're already on the road. You're already kind of like on that preset rails,
and you're using the 110, so the 75.
Exactly. So you're just going to be able to fast move down the road. Sure, you're kind of going into Suicide Town, but hopefully your smoke is already covered it enough.
Luckiest moment of the entire game for me right here.
That
is
this. Really... Ooh!
ATGM missed twice. Okay. M84AN lands both shots. That's Dimitri. That was probably like the single...
This is a close game.
Yeah, it really is. And it's close in terms of like conquest points, but I'm so far behind on
material. You're very, very behind, and I think your opponent should have recognized that. And that's kind of the thing.
So this is what I said about the STRV 121s, right? Like, there's 3 of them right here.
People think in conquest, like, oh, KD doesn't matter. It kind of does. Material is basically kind of key to dictating who wins what engagements and takes what ground. At this point, he's just so far ahead. He should have been able to just push you out entirely.
Maybe not so much in the early game, but definitely in the late game. Because the early game,
it compounds.
Yeah, exactly. Because we have the same income, right? And that's a blessing and a curse. Because if I'm on destruction and I have, I think we did discourage the STRVs there again with the L15M. But like destruction, if you start with more command vehicles, you get more income, and it can return investment over time. But if you do that in Conquest and you lose them needlessly, like I've done a couple of times here with the command vehicle in Dimitri, and then even this guy, there's 3 121s right here. My M84 AK should not be getting me +1 tick right now. And he won't for very long, but every second counts with 6 minutes left.
6 minutes left in this, this small of a lead.
Yeah, right, and I'm ticking +2 for right now. It's just Dimitri and Feder. And that, again, 15 points a minute. So 10 minutes, 150 points, 5 minutes, that's 75 points. If I was losing at a +1 right now, I'd still be fine. It would be just enough to have a narrow victory.
Oh, is that a CV helo?
Yes, it is, and it survived on 4, and I regret not chasing it immediately.
Are you familiar with kind of being able to identify what is a CV carrier and not?
It depends on the faction. Some I can, some not so much. Is there?
If you look at the transport and you see the redundancy is 2 chevrons, it's almost certain that it's going to be a CV infantry and a helo, or in a transport.
Interesting. I never really thought to look at the helicopter veterancy for it. I was always just trying to recognize, okay, like this faction brings one or the other sort of helicopter to the fight.
Yeah. So if you just see 2 chevrons, it's almost I think almost always a CV.
Gotcha. Speaking of, this is, again, the reason that 2 top armor is bad.
Yep.
There it goes. So, boosted does go back to a +1. My M84AK here is still alive, and I don't think I actually got the plane with the L19. So, again, now we're looking at that 15 points a minute, 4 minutes, way closer than I really wanted it to be, and I mean, I have nothing in Dimitri holding this back. I have a single Drug team and an NRZ 128, which actually, I don't know how you feel about these guys. I actually kind of like these guys.
Which one, those guys?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're all right.
Palm A rockets are 45. But it's 8 strength though, and I tend to find that it locks down infantry pretty well. Yeah, I mean, is it amazing? Maybe not, but
I mean, it does the job if that's what you want.
Yeah, for Yugoslavia National, I don't have too many complaints with it. I think this is the one. So another L15M, and I saw the STRVs pull back. So instead of going for the edge, I went for right about in the middle.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, nice little pick there. I know those guys dive a little deep because they drop both their types of bombs, but I mean, when it works.
Did you see that CV helo go over Anna? Oh, actually, you would see it from now.
Right. So there's.
Click on
You're right.
links, you're right. Two chevrons.
2 chevrons. Huh. Fair enough. That should have told me. I started. I think. I had a Nora B, and I was shooting in at Dimitri because I thought I saw where that one was. I should have been shooting over here probably earlier. But I mean, I still have
probably
Proletariat
just turn your
90.
Proletariat around. Yeah, chase them.
Yeah. So block 5. Do you think my M84 lives or dies?
I don't think it lives. Does it live? Oh, actually, it might live here.
By the skin on his teeth, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the difference between a +2, right? So it's 30 points a minute.
Yeah, he shot a little bit too much in the front. I was worried you're going to get kind of congested in the city.
Yeah, I was worried that they were leading the duck kind of thing. Because people will see that bomber coming and they'll retreat exactly backwards just like I did. Like when it was about here, I was sitting there going, am I just going to get out mind gamed with that a little bit?
Well, it looks like he thinks it's a little bit further up in the smoke, which is really lucky.
Yeah, that was very lucky.
There's a puff.
Yeah. Puff taking up my Hera too, because I mean I'm just looking for the command infantry in Anna. There's really not that many places. My Proletariat cleared out this place, so it's clearly not over there. I mean, yeah, this is. I should have connected the dots. It seems like I kind of didn't, but I don't know. I mean, this is just last minute helicopters, right? Because if you look at the field itself, I have nothing. I'm so toasted in this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm kind of impressed actually how down you are in material, but how like
forward on the board.
Like those plane strafes on the STRVs actually kind of really helped you there.
Yeah, because if the STRVs had confidence, they would have been over here by now. I would have been having to deal with
they would have been already steamrolling through center, honestly, I think.
Yeah, we do find the stab stealing, so that's the command infantry, and this is, I mean, the line of sight difficulties for helicopters and woods is just so annoying.
You're also, it's fixed. It's a fixed rocket pod.
Right, so it's really hard to line up. The Gamma 2s don't have anything that can kill infantry. So, yeah. Yugoslavian helicopter tab, maybe not the best. But, I mean, I'm just trying to get a couple of T-55s up here as well to defend this off. My HTs were getting killed, but, I mean, we slowed down their infantry enough that they're not getting into center.
Yeah, we are at what it looks like 127 to 89?
Yeah, to 86.
Yep.
So 15 points on top of that, I still come out with a narrow win. But here comes a block 5. I had no answers for these the whole game, and there's 2 of them. Boosted has just had enough. So, let's see. Yeah, that time, okay, they led the duck that time. That's going to be a dead command tank. +2.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. The tank kind of gets stuck before the city and buildings and that.
But we actually did get the CV.
Dumb stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, a little bit of a trade there. Like, I got rid of the CV in Anna, I lost Dimitri, it's still back to a +1. And at this point, I just want to say, good game to my opponent. I was terrified that entire match, and
yeah, that was really close.
Yeah, so
that was really close.
I was down about 500 points on material.
Oh, that's actually not so bad.
I think it was a couple of CV kills. So it was like backline sort of stuff, because, I mean, there was the CV snipe from the M84AN, the CV kill right at the end there. Yeah, and standout units.
It might have also been like you did buy a lot of planes. I didn't really keep track of how many, but
a little bit of desperation. Yeah. Alright, well, that's the game. Thank you guys for hanging around, and thanks to Osama for commenting on this one. If I can sucker him into doing the next ones as well, he'll be back, so we'll see. See you guys around.